people remember very specific parts of this commercial that never happened. He created a multiverse commercial and he didn't get any credit for it.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
We're your favorite psychic sisters, here to prove that everyone has innate abilities. We just need to trust ourselves. But today, we are talking about something that makes it pretty hard to trust yourselves, specifically trust your memory.
Great.
The Mandela Effect. So let me ask you this, Heidi. Have you ever sworn something happened in a certain way only to find out it never did?
Yes, and I still don't believe the person that said it didn't happen. So.
This could be Mandela Effect. One example is, say you're reading your childhood book that you remember it being called the Berenstain Bears, but then you look at it now and it's the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird shit. This is an example of the Mandela Effect. And today we're going to get curious if the Mandela Effect is just proof that our brains are filling in the gaps incorrectly, or is it evidence that parallel realities might actually exist?
Oh, I hope it's parallel realities.
I hope so. The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people share the same false memory or event or detail. It was named after a common false memory of Nelson Mandela. So back in 2009, a paranormal researcher, Fiona Broome, coined the phrase after she discovered many other people shared her false memory of Nelson Mandela's death in prison during the 1980s, when in reality, he didn't die until 2013. What?
Yeah. This is so weird though, because I feel like this is the first time that you've been like, something back in 2009. I'm like, oh, I was alive. I was graduating high school. That's how alive I was.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was, I know I've heard the phrase Mandela Effect before. Mm-hmm. I thought this was like ancient.
No.
Maybe this is another Mandela Effect.
Yeah, right?
Crazy.
Well, I actually remember when Nelson Mandela died in 2013. And I remember looking at the headline thinking, wait, wasn't he already dead? But I'm also like, well, no, I'm bad at history, so I don't know. It was weird. So my question is, are millions of people just misremembering, or is something weirder happening?
Obviously, something weird's happening.
So we have to go over some of these examples. I've got a shit ton, but Heidi, what are your favorite Mandela effects?
I don't think I know specific ones because you don't know what you don't know. And I feel like I know all these things and there's nothing that I don't know.
Okay.
But no, I mean, like when you say the Berenstain Bears, I remember when that kind of like became a topic again, when people were talking about that, like, but why is it Berenstain Bears? Why do we always call it Berenstain Bears? And so, of course, my logical brain goes, well, what if that was actually how it was pronounced and one person said it and then we all just kind of went with it and we didn't really look at it because even when you just look at the word, you don't immediately know how to say it maybe. I don't know.
I think it is still pronounced Berenstain Bears. It's just spelled S-T-A-I-N instead of S-T-I-E-N or I-E-I.
Yeah, it was always Berenstain, but why did we call it Berenstain?
Well, I don't know. I remember specifically looking at the books as a kid. I just remember, again, this could be a misremembering.
Yeah.
I don't remember an A in it. I remember the I and the E.
I have to agree because I feel like as a kid, you would look at that and be like, wait, well, it says Berenstain. Right. Once you learn how to read, which we did know how to read when we were reading Berenstain Bears. So I don't understand. I want to hear more. I'm so excited to dive into these.
Okay, good. So let's think about The Wizard of Oz. Do you remember the Wicked Witch? And when she's like cackling and telling all of the monkeys to like fly away and she's saying, fly, my pretties, fly.
Yes.
Remember that? Okay, that didn't happen. She didn't say, fly, my pretties, fly. She said, just fly, fly, fly.
Okay. This episode's going to hurt my brain.
I know.
Okay. No.
No.
Okay, maybe it was.
No. You're wrong.
Like, no, I think I remember her saying fly, fly. And then the my pretties was I'll
something
get you
else.
my pretty and my little and your little dog too.
That's what I think too. And we might have like combined the
Looped
two to think that. Yeah. Okay, here's another one. Mickey Mouse. Does he have suspenders or not?
Oh. I feel like any answer I give is wrong.
What do you remember?
I think he does. Because like
he does not. He does not.
That's a lie. That's a big fat fucking lie. Because in the early, Walt Disney animation thing, wasn't he like whistling and then like pulling on a suspender?
Nope.
What?
He was holding on to the steering, the boat. Oh my God. My dad's going to be so mad. What is that called?
Yeah, that.
The helm.
The helm. At the helm. Okay.
Anyway, nope. He was holding onto the helm and there's no suspenders. Okay, another one. Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. Do you remember him having like a big Adam's apple? Like when he was like, oh.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, there's no Adam's apple.
What? Are you sure? Are you sure? What about in like different episodes? That one is shaking me up because I was a big Scooby-Doo fan and I would sit and watch Scooby-Doo all the time. Why would I remember that so distinctly? And then also when they created the live action sort of Scooby-Doo, I remember them having this guy that had like a big Adam's apple and I was like, perfect because he needs
totally
to.
Fits. Mm-hmm.
I'm so confused.
Okay, I really like this one. Do you remember back in the 90s, or maybe it was early 2000s, there was a movie called Shazam with a genie played by Sinbad. Do you remember that?
No, it was Shaq. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Does everybody think it was Shaq?
No.
Or am I just the only one that's...
No. There was actually no movie called Shazam.
Yes, there was. What the fuck?
No, it was actually a movie called Kazam with Shaq, who was a genie. But people remember the movie called Shazam with Sinbad. Weird, right?
This is really freaking me out now because I vividly can see that like movie front cover.
Yeah.
And I swear to God it was Shazam.
I also remember Shaq more than Sinbad, but I remember the name Shazam and I even Googled it and I'm like, Shazam? There is a movie called Shazam, but it's like in the 2020s or something. So I'm like, no, that's not it.
Hell. No, because I thought that's why, because it was Shaq and I was like, I thought it was Shazam because it was Shaq.
So another one. Do you remember peanut butter being called Jiffy?
Well, yeah, there's Jiffy, like Jiffy peanut butter.
It's just called Jif. It's not Jiffy. It's Jif.
What the fuck? Hold on. I mean, yeah, it is.
Go check your
Jif,
cupboard.
But I swear to God, we called it Jiffy.
I swore there was a Jiffy too. I remember seeing like the Y, right?
Okay, there's Jiffy. There's Jiffy Pop. Jiffy Pop popcorn.
Maybe that's what
maybe we smushed it.
Maybe. Yeah.
But popcorn and peanut butter are two very different things.
Okay, here's another fun one for us millennials. Britney Spears in her music video, Oops, I Did It Again.
I watched it a billion times.
Yeah. She got like that red suit on.
Yep.
Do you remember her having a mic headset on her head singing?
Yeah.
There is no headset on her. He's crying now. My life is a lie.
Wait. Okay. Maybe there wasn't.
Well, also, she did a lot of live songs. She did a lot of live music and she was on MTV all the time with the headset. So that could be what we're thinking of.
Because she also did wear that red cat suit all the time in her lives.
Right.
Concerts.
Couple more for you. Looney Tunes.
Freeze myself. Okay, Looney Tunes, don't fuck me up.
Do you remember the spelling of Looney Tunes? And this one's probably going to be hard if you don't see it. But I remember Looney Tunes being spelled like Looney, and then tunes as Toons.
OONS. 100%. Yeah.
It is not. It is Tunes.
What?
I know.
Okay. We've got to be living in an alter. Okay. Is it like the children that remember this, or do the adults remember this too? We should ask mom and dad if they remember how Looney Tunes were spelled.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
You know, because I feel like Looney Tunes was 100% TOO because it matched.
I know. Okay, I've got another childhood one for you.
Keep ruining the childhood. Let's go.
Curious George, did he have a tail or not?
Yeah, he's a fucking monkey.
Nope, he never had a tail.
Stop. That can't even be real. That is incorrect. He is not an ape. He was a monkey, right?
I know. I actually saw this. I was reading Curious George to my daughter the other night, and I was like, this is so weird how they modernized him and like got rid of the tail. And then I read, wait, he never had a tail.
He fucking had a tail. I swear, I'm going to go find one of the old ones from Nanny and Papa. And I swear, I thought he like hung from his tail or did some weird shit. Like he was always up to no good. He was mischievous as hell. He was a friggin' monkey.
'Tis a lie.
Why would they cut off his tail?
Cut it off. They just didn't draw it. Save them time and money.
I can't even visualize. I literally can't even visualize him without a tail.
I know. All right, moving on. Mr. Monopoly.
Oh, yeah.
Did not have a monocle.
That's fucking lies right there.
He just had a bag of money.
No.
Yes.
No, he had. I'm Googling this right now.
I know.
There is no way Mr. Monopoly. Oh, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have a monocle?
I know. I remember it so vividly.
This is really wild.
Yeah. Okay. And then this one's pretty popular, but I also so vividly remember this. The Fruit of the Loom logo. I remember so clearly it had a cornucopia on it with the fruit pouring out. Apparently, people have asked Fruit of the Loom for all their old logos, and they've shared none of them have a cornucopia. It's always just been fruit on the logo.
What?
Yes. Yep.
How is this? Okay, I need to know how this works because how can there be so many people that remember that?
I've got more and I'll try to go through them quickly because they're so good. Okay, this one. Cheez-Its. It's called Cheez-Its, right?
Yeah.
Apparently it's just Cheez-It, not Cheez-Its. And that one could be just because we call them I want the Cheez-Its. Like
maybe we just
of them, like chips.
Pluralize them.
I'm going to have to go look right now because I know we've got it in our cupboard.
Yeah.
Cheez-It.
Okay. I mean, that one's plausible. I can feel like maybe, sure, I could forget that there's not an S, but nobody calls them Cheez-It.
Okay, these are from movies. Star Wars specifically. Okay, in Star Wars, do you remember C-3PO, the gold guy?
I do. Okay, I can never remember his actual name. I'm always like CP3O. Yeah, okay. So I'm not the greatest Star Wars person.
That's okay. But you've seen his character. You've seen he's like this gold guy. Apparently, he has a silver leg. I thought he was all gold. He has a silver leg.
I thought he was all silver. So, don't ask me.
Oh, yeah. Also in Star Wars, this one's so famous. You remember Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father.
I am your father.
Yeah. He does not say, Luke, I am your father. He says, no, I am your father. And this one fucked me up because I keep remembering Tommy Boy. You know, in Tommy Boy, when he's like, Chris Farley's like, gets a fan and he's like, Luke, I am your father. Oh, that was pretty good.
It was really good. I liked it.
I mean, if he gets it wrong, it's gotta be, they had to have changed it.
What if Tommy Boy was the one that corrupted everybody's mind?
Maybe. But that's I'm pretty sure they said that way before Tommy Boy. I don't know. But that's not what he said.
But that's what everybody quotes. And they even
Yep.
like parody it all the time. It's
All the time.
always Luke, I am your father.
Another thing that was wrong from movies, Snow White. She does not say mirror, mirror on the wall. She says magic mirror on the wall.
What?
Does your brain hurt yet?
It does. It does. But then, okay, so now it's a question of, is it not necessarily memory, but it's almost like the telephone game where it's like you change it and like it gets changed somewhere, not necessarily in the original, but in like an interpretation of it. And when did that happen? Okay. Nobody knows.
So that is very likely true. I'm going to give you another example that's more recent that not a lot of people have heard of. And this just came out, I think it was like this week or within the last couple of weeks. Yeah. This is a Doritos commercial that never happened. So I was scrolling through Instagram and this guy named Chris Greeter, I think it is, his hashtag his handle on Instagram. I sound like a grandma.
Oh, what's your hashtag?
What's that number sign in there for?
His handle on Instagram is Aspiring Alchemist. So look him up. It's very interesting. Apparently, he entered a contest 12 years ago for a Doritos Super Bowl commercial. He directed a video for the Super Bowl, but he says it never won. It wasn't even a runner-up. He posted it a few weeks ago on Instagram, and people are going batshit crazy. They're like, I absolutely remember this commercial. This won, and I remember it so specifically because I just remember being so mad that they kept playing it over and over. I was getting annoyed. Like people remember very specific parts of this commercial that never happened. So basically it's like this video of two teens in a park. One's eating Doritos with like this winter hat on, and one kid, it comes up with a skateboard and he looks at this guy eating Doritos and he's like, ooh, interested. So he turns his head, he spits out this wad of gum and he's like, can I have one? And the other guy that's eating the Doritos is like, yeah, no, maybe when pigs, he was about to say like when pigs fly. Yeah, you look like you know this. He says when pigs, but before he says fly, pigs are flying into the scene. And he goes, when pigs shoot lasers out of their eyes. And then the pigs shoot lasers out of their eyes and and hit this car behind them and it blows up.
Yes.
And then like, yes. And then their face gets all like black and
that was
like
100% a Super Bowl commercial.
Yes. Right.
I have hosted Super Bowl parties for the sole reason to watch the commercials. And I remember that one.
Yeah.
What is his name? Chris
Greeter. Or Greiter, but if you're pronouncing it the German way, it's Greeter.
All right, Chris, you for sure created something that went into the universe somehow because I know I've seen it.
He created a multiverse commercial and he didn't get any credit for it.
That's actually a really big fucking bummer.
But what's even crazier is the year after he entered that and didn't win, Doritos did release a commercial that said when pigs fly and had a very similar thing. But I looked up that video and I'm like, I don't remember that video. I don't recall that. I remember the one with the pigs shooting lasers out of their eyes.
I remember lasers. I remember a car exploding. I remember this. And I remember it being a very, like, it's so on par for a Super Bowl commercial because it's just like something absolutely ridiculous and like
it's so
kind of funny.
bonkers.
But I love that that's surfacing right now. And everyone's like, wait, what?
Yes.
Oh my God. What if we just like split realities all of a sudden and just recently now all these things are surfacing because we're like, wait, no, we've already seen that. What? Oh, this is the best episode.
I know. Okay. So why is this happening so often? Like, why does this keep happening? And with the most random things, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, a Doritos
Fruit of
commercial.
the Loom.
Right.
I'm like thinking about an underwear band right now. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was a cornucopia.
So there are two reasons. And one is psychological and one may be related to quantum physics. Woo!
I like that.
So the first one, psychological, right? Our memories are terrible. I mean, follow me around for a day. You will know. They are terrible.
This is true.
I go up the stairs and I forget what I'm going up the stairs for, and I come back down just to remember. So psychologists often attribute this to confabulation, so memory compression, and the brain's tendency to fill in gaps with familiar patterns. And we are very persuadable beings. We can't even rely on our memory for eyewitness testimony. Heidi, I want you to guess what percent of wrongful convictions have been overturned by DNA evidence involved in eyewitness misidentification.
It's probably extremely high, which is really sad. Oh man, I don't know, like 60%?
70%.
Yeah.
70%.
I almost said 71st, okay?
And this data comes from the Innocent Project, which has helped exonerate hundreds of wrongfully convicted individuals.
Oof.
But that just goes to show so many people think they see something, and so much so that they have misidentified someone with eyewitness, and then their DNA has proven that to be incorrect. That's crazy. And there's research from Elizabeth Loftus that has shown entire false memories can be implanted with just suggestions. So she has a controlled lab setting, and she noted that in that setting, 25 to 30% of the people in this study were led to remember events that never happened. So
we are such sheep. We will just follow whatever somebody says.
Well, not even that, but just to actually believe that, I remember being there. I remember seeing that. The human brain would rather something be coherent instead of correct, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably why the second option is not as widely accepted. So the second reason this could be happening can be explained by parallel universes or timeline jumping, whatever you want to call it. So the idea that multiple universes exist simultaneously. I know, Heidi, you love this theory.
I love this. I love this. In high school and college, my least favorite subject was always physics. But if somebody would have allowed me to take quantum physics, I feel like I would have crushed it.
I don't know. Quantum physics, like physicists don't even understand it themselves. It would be so hard for a high schooler.
No, I would totally get it.
Just tell her it has to do with timeline jumping and ghosts, and she'll be like, I'm on it.
Yeah. And you know what's cool to think about, though, too, is all of this research that's coming up now, and quantum physics basically explaining manifestation, explaining a lot of things. I feel like in 20 years from now, it can explain parallel universes and like maybe even prove that they exist and that it's happening and that we're constantly timeline hopping and we all live in universes that are different from each other.
In multiple locations.
Yeah.
So under this theory, any small decision that you make can branch timelines, and we could be shifting between nearly identical timelines, nearly identical realities. And some people may retain, quote unquote, residual memories from alternate timelines.
Yep, I believe it.
Right. But there's no scientific evidence supporting timeline jumpings. But
yet,
quantum physics does suggest that reality is way stranger than we understand. So I think it's very possible. But
yeah,
I don't know. If it's neuroscience, it means our brains are incredible storytellers. If it's parallel universes, it means reality is way more fluid than we thought. And honestly, I think both are mind-blowing. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you think about our episode on timeline jumping and the story of the woman who was walking through like Italy or France or whatever it was, and people were recognizing her. And I'm just like, how is that possible? Without timeline hopping or parallel universes. It just doesn't make sense. So I choose to believe parallel timelines and universes exist.
I think it's so true. Well, and I also think it's interesting that this Mandela effect is something like a wider, broader scale, right? Like, multiple people remember something being a different way. I feel like it also happens at a smaller scale too, because there's been so many instances, even within our family, where we're telling a story about a vacation or something. And I'm like, no, that's that's not what happened. And everyone's like, yes, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't have proof, but.
Do you remember the text messages we were having this morning with my mom? With my mom. Mom.
Your mom. Yes.
With mom. So this morning, okay, I'm going to make a big old confession here because this was quite embarrassing. But this morning I woke up with a song in my head, which I swear to God, it's a real song. It is from the Producers, but it's called Springtime for Hitler. I'm not going to say it again.
It's a hilarious show. That's a really funny show.
But I couldn't stop like singing it. Thankfully, it was just at my house. But I texted Mom and Sissy at the same time, like, oh my gosh, why is a song in my head? And Mom was like, oh my gosh, how weird. Dad and I were talking about the Producers yesterday. And I just was like, okay, that's another coincidence. I don't know the reason why yet, but I'm sure it'll come around soon. But then she talked about, you know, our trip to New York and when we went to the Broadway shows. And she's like, oh, did we do Spam-A-Lot and the Producers? And I was like, yeah, I remember doing that. And I'm pretty sure I fell asleep during the Producers because to me, as like a 9-year-old kid, it was kind of boring. She's like, no, you fell asleep during Spam-A-Lot. I'm like, pretty sure I fell asleep during the other one. But now it's how do you trust yourself?
And then I entered the chat and I'm like, nope, we only saw the Producers. I did not see Spam-A-Lot. And I'm pretty sure you saw Spam-A-Lot with your friend Mara. And that's when you fell asleep. I don't know. It was just so weird. We all remember
I was
different
13,
things.
so I probably did fall asleep because I was probably moody and exhausted.
I'm curious. So, listener, if you've had anything interesting happen, please let us know because maybe we're more alike than you think. Maybe we all have, there's more Mandela effects that we don't know about.
Especially within like family. I think that comes up quite a bit. You know, if you're talking with your family or getting together for a gathering and recalling something, it's like, wait, I don't remember that part, but I remember this part. And it's interesting what parts you remember. And this is wild. Okay, but now I do have a question. How do you trust yourself and trust your memory in that sort of situation? Like, how do we trust our memories?
That's why I think all of this does connect to intuition too, because sometimes we doubt ourselves, especially when somebody else remembers something differently than others. And we immediately assume, oh, well, I must be wrong. But I think this lesson is, what if we're both right? We shouldn't be so quick to override our own perceptions. I don't know.
Yes, and baby. In your reality, I fell asleep in that one. But in my reality, I fell asleep in both.
And does it matter? No. I mean, what only matters is our own reality, which is just wild.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're not testifying against somebody for, you know.
That's true. Yes. That'd be a big mistake.
I don't think I could ever even do that. Even if I was 100% sure, I'd be like, I don't actually fucking know.
I know. And especially like even those sketch artists, when they ask, oh, what did they look like? I don't even know. If somebody walks by me and I even stare at them for 10 seconds, I still can't describe them to you.
Oof, that shit makes me nervous.
Anyway, Mandela effect. So whether it's neurons misfiring or the universe colliding, I think we just need to understand that reality is way less rigid than we think.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I mean, this effect, it doesn't prove that alternate universes exist, but it also, I don't know, it does prove that something about the human mind is interesting, that we are somehow co-creators of our own experiences in some way, shape, or form.
I think the Mandela effect paired with stories of people who have had like our time travel episode. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. It's really good. Ceci had some really great research in there. It almost like strengthens the argument that it is plausible that we have a more fluid universe than we think.
Right. I mean, it just makes you stop and think. Not everything you see might be true. I don't know.
What is reality?
This is totally one of the reasons why we teach discernment, which to me, it's not all woo. I think discernment is the ability to hold science in one hand and spirituality in the other, and they can coexist, and you have to make your decisions based off of that.
Yeah. Or you get to choose which one you want to live in, or you can like make them both. I don't know.
Exactly. Bring it in. Bring in what you want.
So cool.
All right, Heidi, what is our tarot for this week? Give us some good news.
I am choosing the Wild Soul Oracle cards today. So not, your traditional tarot, but
Tarot.
an oracle deck. I keep hearing more and more people call it tarot, and I kind of just like saying it that way. So maybe I'm just going to call it tarot now. All right. What do we need to focus on?
Maybe it's always been tarot and we've been wrong this whole time.
No, we've all been calling it tarot. What do you mean?
Yeah.
We've always called it tarot.
Gaslight.
Is it gaslighting or is it the Mandela effect?
That's actually an important point. I think some things aren't always Mandela effect. It could be gaslighting. So be careful.
Discernment. This one's fun. We got three poppers here. So the first one we got was the caterpillar, which is potential, incubating, being in your chrysalis and potential. But we also got the dolphin, which is joy, it's self-expression, and it's living your best life. And we got the scorpion, which is power. So I kind of like this of choose your adventure, which feels like it's aligned. We got potential, joy, and power. This is what showed up for today. I don't really know how to tie it into Mandela effect, but
you don't have to tie it in.
It
could just be the energy for the week. I like it.
That is the energy for I think I'm going to choose the scorpion. I'm choosing power this week. Which one do you want to choose?
I kind of feel like a caterpillar today. I'm really tired. I just want to go in my cocoon.
All right. I'll carry the team.
Okay, thanks. Well, if you love episodes where we explore the edge between science and spirituality like this, help us get this message out there and leave us a review or share this episode with a friend of yours. Maybe share it with a friend who thinks it was still Berenstain Bears and see what they think. And until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye.
Bye.